to do. Local waste, federal waste, state waste, everything. They're wasting money like there's no tomorrow and just taxing us more and more and more to the point where we're just going to hand over our whole paycheck and say, you know, give us something to live on. That'll be it. And since we're not getting health care and a lot of jobs now, and we're not getting our retirement, we're not getting all kinds of extra things we used to get, we're reaching the point where it's almost being reduced to slavery at this point. So many people cannot make a living, $12,000 a year, minimum wage. Give me a break, for God's sake. We got with us Rudy Mueller, who doesn't usually agree with me on many things. He does agree that there's government waste, I'm sure.
Yes.
How many years were you in the legislature, Rudy?
4.
4 years. Where were you born and raised?
Lakewood, Ohio.
Lakewood, Ohio, and we have a Lakewood here too.
Yeah, that's probably one of the big reasons why I live in Lakewood now.
Yeah,
plus the lake.
Oh, you live in Lakewood even today, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get rid of that Lakewood title, huh?
Yeah.
Now, you're a doctor, right? Physician?
Physician and hospital. WCA recruited us, me and my wife here 20 years ago.
Oh, what'd she do?
She's a family practitioner. She's a physician also.
Oh, so the two of you have a lot in common, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, we have 5 kids, a great place to raise a family, and really, really lucky.
How old are the kids now?
Oh, 26 to 15,
26
and in between.
Almost all adult now, huh?
Yeah, we're 1.5 at home.
Yeah, 1.5.
One's going to college. Number 4 is going to college. So.
And did any of them elect to become a physician?
One's in dental school, and there may be a couple looking at it.
Looking at it, huh?
Yeah, so.
Does Dad say, look, if you want to go to medical school, I'll cover the $100,000 it'll cost you?
If it's doable, yeah, we would. I don't want our kids coming out of debt out of college.
Yeah, well, that's, of course, the new game plan.
The average physician comes out of medical school probably around $200,000 in debt. It's not good. So yeah. If my kids are lucky enough to get out of school out of debt, you know, that would be great.
It would be a boon. It would be a wonderful grace. So, Rudy, you've been here a long time in the county. You practice here. You served in the legislature, and as I understand it, you're also running now for the state assembly. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm not going to. We can't campaign for you. But I can say that we have your opponent on regularly, and so I guess fair time. Now, tell me, you were concerned, first of all, about the lake. You said the lake is one of our biggest problems, and so has everybody else. I mean, the county just ponied up, I mean, the state, I think $100,000, right?
Correct. For
the lake, which is not very much considering the work that has to be done.
I agree with you. It's a drop in the bucket, what you said. Actually, I wrote an article about that, and I actually used that same phrase. It's just not enough. The state owns the lake, and I think they're responsible for the protection and the preservation of the lake. The county has done many local organizations, the CLA on the watershed, and numerous different organizations. They've done a lot of work, a lot of good work, local projects to try to preserve the lake, to reduce the runoff and protection around the lake, but more needs to be done. We need millions invested in the lake.
I just talked to Mr. Dyer about that. He seems to be involved, and I think it's a hell of a problem. Now, there are only 2 responses that I know of for taking care of the lake. One is chemicals. And chemicals, again, you could take a tanker car and dump it into a little area. That's all it's going to do. I mean, it's highly toxic to certain elements. We don't know quite what the environmentalists are going to say about this, but it looks like they're dead set against chemicals. Weed control, that's the problem. It's weed. It's a kelp of some. What is that?
Right. Well, the weeds. The lake is getting shallower, and there's a lot of nutrients in there. And there's been a lot of sun this summer, and not much rainfall and not much snow. So the weeds are definitely growing. So the long-term solution, though, I believe, and which is what will require millions of dollars investment, is to remove the phosphate loads that are coming out of the water treatment plants. Currently only about half of the phosphates are being removed. So we need to add tertiary treatment at least to 2 of the water treatment plants, one in the north end of the county and one at Chautauqua. So that's probably around a $10 million investment. And we also, the sewer lines are not completed around the lake. They were done in the 70s. There's probably a third of the lake that doesn't have sewer lines. That's millions of dollars investment. If we don't do that, then we need to do really aggressive septic maintenance. But that is a huge source of pollution and nutrients getting into the lake. So we need and all of those things, if they actually were done, they'd be jobs in this county. The money would be spent in the county. The people who do the sewer lines, etc., they'd live right here, spend the money right here. The money would come right back into the county.
So part of the answer is removing the nutrients that make the weeds grow.
So, and that's the long term for the lake. I'm talking
millions.
And we're talking for the next 50 to 100 years. This is a long-term investment. We're lucky that we, the county did put in sewer lines back in the 70s, which was fought against by a lot, but that actually happened. That was really important to protect the lake. And then, the other thing that needs to be done is we need to dredge the lake, and that needs to be done in selective areas. It's obvious that the lake is getting really shallow. There's a lot of sediment. So and that's a big reason.
We got a phone.
All right.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning. How are you today?
Fine. What's up?
I have a question. We recently found out in Chautauqua County that we have some of the highest welfare costs in the state.
We're first of all, the highest tax county in the United States. For
yeah. Well, my question will be for Dr. Mueller, and I hope he's having a fantastic day. When you were the Democratic caucus leader, what motions and plans did you propose to reduce the cost of welfare in Chautauqua County? I mean, let's face it, those of us that work are kind of tired of taking care of those that don't work.
What do you think there, Rudy?
Well, one thing that I did is I led the effort to make the sales tax, or keep the sales tax low. And if we keep the sales tax low, that helps retail businesses, which creates more jobs. I mean, retailers, sales, that provides jobs. So if people are working, they don't need welfare. So you want full employment. Right now we have a recession. The unemployment rates are high, so the welfare costs are going to go up during a recession when unemployment's high. So you want to lower unemployment. You want to have full employment. The other thing that I did as a leader was made the tax cap stick in the county. There was the county executive put out last year approximately a $5 million property tax increase over the cap. We were able to get that down, and by the end of the budget, 20 legislators out of the 25 voted for that budget. It was the most bipartisan budget ever, and the tax cap stuck. If that tax cap would not have been there, we never would have been able to make that happen. So we were able to lower property taxes and keep the sales tax low, which helps small businesses, retail businesses. So we need to have full employment. We need to attract industry and businesses here. I don't think we should be, and I did not agree with increasing welfare payments by 10%.
I think the state did, didn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. The other thing we did was we made the more efficient on the whole. There were some positions added into the social services to make it more efficient and to try to prevent waste and fraud. by having a more efficient operating system.
Caller, you understand, of course, the 2% tax cap is laughable. There's a joker in the contract. All they have to do, any government agency that's going to pass a budget, is just to vote to do away with it. Forget it. And they do.
Well, we didn't in the county. We did not on the county legislature. It would have taken, you needed 60% to agree to go over the cap, and we didn't do that. They didn't have the votes to do that.
But you borrowed against this year a lot of money, they tell me, which means that we now have to make up for the deficit that was borrowed from last year, this year, on top of all the new expenses this year. So it looks like we're in a bind now.
Well, there were cuts. There were significant cuts made. We did use fund.
We're getting a lot of noise somewhere.
Some fund balance, but then they found another $10 million.
Yeah, they located. They lost $10 million.
So imagine if we would have raised property taxes by $5 million in last year's budget, and then we found another $10 million. So, I'm proud that we were able to lower the property taxes by $5 million, and I think that if that property tax cap option was not there, it was a very effective tool to help lower property taxes, which is important.
Okay, caller.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a fantastic day.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. Now we lowered the property tax. What year is this now? What are you talking about?
Well, it was last year's budget. It's this year. So this year,
my taxes will go down.
Your property taxes were, well, it only went up 2%.
So it went up a little.
Yeah, 2%, but it would have gone up by around 9%. So
right.
I mean, we did lower it.
Lower the difference.
Correct.
Right? Not the tax. It wasn't lowered.
There were significant cuts made, especially in the sheriff's department.
What did you cut from Jurassic? He owns adamant.
It was a heavy
hit, huh?
Yes, and it was heavy. How
about the Office for the Aging?
I believe many departments took significant hits, and I wish there was full employment in the county. There would be more tax revenues coming in, and these things wouldn't have happened. But we don't have we have a recession. We need to be attracting businesses, job growth, having more job creators, not just, we need more small businesses growing, wanting to live in this county, raise their family here, bring people in, bring businesses, small businesses, large businesses. And New York State is, under Governor Cuomo, things are moving in the right direction. New York State's in the top 10 now, the states.
Top 10 of what?
In economic
in
growth. No, well,
the tax is number one, I think.
Well, but if the tax cap, will be effective in the next 3 to 5 years, I think you'll see a significant drop in property taxes and other taxes. But it's right now New York State's in the top 10 in economic growth. So things, New York State is turning around.
There's a little hope, some hope, a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can keep pushing New York State in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think I was effective in the county at doing that, and I'm hoping to do that in Albany.
Campaign. Rudy Mueller. Rudy Mueller is a past legislator and very active. He is currently running for Assembly. I think that he is probably pretty knowledgeable about a lot of things going on here in Chautauqua County. We've got to have people up there who understand and still know what Chautauqua County problems are. Mainly, of course, the fact is we're pretty much impoverished, like many other counties. We don't have the money, the businesses, the industry, and nobody is getting any more industry these days.
Well, can we talk? Well, just back to the lake. One reason why the lake is so critical for all of the people in Chautauqua County. More than 25% of all the property tax revenues come from 1% of the properties around the lake. So if the lake deteriorates and the property values go down around the lake, it's going to raise the property taxes for the 90